For those of us living in Florida, knowing how to manage your yard can be overwhelming. Well, we're here to help. Tom Wichman from the University of Florida's Florida Friendly Landscaping Program shares his DIY tips for helping you manage your Florida yard.
Every gardener needs quality tools, so today I'm going to share with you my 6 favorite gardening tools that I think everyone should have. We'll start first with a round point shovel. It's really the basic tool that you need for digging, planting plants, and working the soil in the landscape. Everyone also has to have a hard rake. The hard rake is going to be used for finishing and really smoothing things out, even spreading mulch. And I think every gardener should have a sharp spade. This is something most gardeners don't have, but it really helps when you're moving plants around in the landscape. A nice sharpened spade will cut through roots very easily and make your life a whole lot easier. If you've got trees, you're going to need a pole saw, so make sure you have one that's quality, one that can extend out and reach the heights that you're going to need to help maintain your trees. And then you've got a limb saw. A limb saw is needed for anything bigger than you can prune with your pruning shears. So anything much bigger than about a ½ inch in diameter, you're going to want to cut with a limb saw. And every gardener needs a good pair of pruning shears. I like a bypass pruning shear with replaceable blades, and I treat myself to a new blade each and every year. It's like getting a new pair of pruning shears for just the cost of a blade. Very important that you maintain your tools to keep them their best and make sure that they can last as long as possible. Make sure you're cleaning them after each use and brushing them off and maybe giving them a light coating of oil. Inspect the handles. If they have any rough spots on them, if you have a wooden handle, for instance, make sure you're taking some sandpaper and smoothing that out. Make sure you're taking some mineral oil or linseed oil and wiping that on the handle as well. When it comes to storage, I like to use a trash can. It's easy to just prop them up in a corner and it keeps them nice and neat and out of the way. Our tools are really our best friends in the landscape. If you take care of them, they'll make your life so much easier. Mowing your grass is something almost all homeowners do at one time or another. We want to learn to do it safely and we want to learn to do it right. First thing, before you do anything, is make sure that you go around the yard and pick up any debris. Pick up any rocks or any sticks or anything that could potentially fly, damage the mower, or damage any people around. Make sure that you're wearing closed-toed shoes. It's really important that you keep yourself safe, never mow in flip-flops or other type of shoe. Don't mow the grass while it's wet. If you can let it dry first, it's so important because it'll be at the right height and it'll also be less chance of you slipping. Now let's talk about some best management tips. We want to make sure that you're never trimming off more than 1/3 of the leaf blade of the grass at any one time. So it's really important that you mow often enough so that you're not cutting it too short. This will keep the grass healthy and also prevent a lot of disease issues down the road. Now you want to look for the recommended height and always mow at the recommended height. So find out what species of grass you have and then look to University of Florida or some other source so that you have the right height for your turf type. It's really important that we change directions every time we mow. That way we won't develop ruts in the turf. And make sure you have a sharpened mower blade. Think about the damage that a dull mower blade can do. It rips and tears the grass. Make sure you keep the clippings off of hard surfaces. Clippings left on driveways and sidewalks can wash into the streets and down into storm drains and really pollute our environment. And let your clippings lay on the lawn. They'll break down, they'll provide some nutrients to the soil and protect the environment as well. With these tips, you'll keep your lawn looking great and you'll be safe as well. Realize that most insects are not doing damage to your plants. Only about 1% of the insects that you find are pests in the landscape. Integrated Pest Management, or IPM, is a holistic way of how to manage pests in the landscape. You start first with the right plant for the right place, and make sure that you get plants that are resistant to pests. Try and keep plants as healthy as possible, and don't bring problems home from the garden center. If it's got yellow leaves or pests on it, leave it there and buy a better plant. And then go out into the landscape and scout it. So walk around those plants, turn leaves over, see if you can figure out what made that hole in that leaf. Once you have them positively identified and you know that they're doing damage to your plants, it could be that I can just cut off a branch. That one particular branch that has all the insects clustered, that's an easy way to get rid of them and dispose of that. Or perhaps it's one large insect that's doing damage, and you can just pluck it and dispose of it. If you do have to manage some pests in the landscape, make sure that you start with the lowest toxicity products first. Try soaps or oils. These low toxicity products are a little safer on the environment and a little less damaging. And we're only gonna spot treat because we just wanna treat individual areas and make sure that you're following the label. The label is the law on a pesticide products. University of Florida has a wonderful Pest ID app that can help us identify insect pests. And remember, managing pests in the landscape doesn't have to be difficult. We just need to think about the environment before we take action. Anyone with a landscape is going to have to do some pruning at one time or another in order to keep that landscaping looking tidy. Before you start pruning, make sure you have the right tools. A good pair of pruning shears is really important. Other than that, you're probably looking at a lopper. And loppers will have longer handles, bigger blades, and allow you to cut maybe up to 3/4 of an inch. Anything bigger than that 3/4 of an inch, you're looking at pruning saws. So make sure you have the right tool. What we can do with a pruning shear is much better. It'll allow us to have a more naturalistic shape to the plant and not that boxy or round shape that we would do with hedge shears. If you're pruning shrubs, make sure that you're pruning them so that the top is more narrow and the base is wider. That allows sun to get to the bottom and will keep the branches full all the way to the ground. If you have trees, possibly think about hiring a certified arborist for any of that high work that might be dangerous. If you have palms in the landscape, make sure you're following that 3 and 9 rule. So picture a clock with 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock being on that clock. You can prune anything below those, but anything above that, make sure you're leaving alone. Keep in mind, don't over prune your palms. Those green leaves that you might be pruning are feeding the palm and keeping it from getting nutrient deficiencies. And last but not least, if you have mangroves, check with your local municipality and don't prune mangroves, dead or alive, unless you know what you're doing. Pruning is easy, but you just have to have the right tools and know what you're doing. Anyone with trees in a landscape is going to need to know how to do a 3-point cut. 3-point cut is used to protect the tree from being damaged when you're pruning off limbs. So any limb that has a lot of weight on it, anything really bigger than an inch or so, you need to be thinking about using a 3-point cut. Number one, you're going to come out about 6 to 8 inches from the trunk, and you're going to undercut that branch about halfway. Then you're going to go out an inch or so from that and go from the top and remove that limb. It'll break off right there, and it's not going to rip the bark from the trunk. That's what we want to be careful about doing. Once that branch is removed, it's time for that third cut, okay? It's that third piece of the 3-point cut. And we're gonna cut just outside of the branch collar, that swollen area where that branch intersects the trunk. And that will allow that tree to wall off the injury and protect it from decay. If you're at all hesitant about how big a limb is or how much weight it may carry, maybe you consult a certified arborist to take care of that limb for you. A 3-point cut is a simple skill. It just takes a little bit of practice. But if you master this technique, you'll really protect your trees and they'll be able to wall off injury.
Thanks, Tom. For more information on the Florida Friendly Landscaping Program, visit floridafriendlylandscaping.com.